That's how long Vladimir Putin has been in power in Russia. In this time, he's visited around 70 countries. I'm talking about North Korea. Vladimir Putin landed in Pyongyang on Tuesday night. The city was all decked up to welcome him. We are talking the whole shebang. Portraits of Putin, flags of Russia, even Russian music on state television. North Korea does not get many visitors, certainly not world leaders like Putin. So Kim Jong-un rolled out his fanciest red carpet. He was at the airport himself. He greeted Putin with a handshake followed by a semi-hug. Now, this visit is very important. Putin last came to North Korea in the year 2000, so it's been 24 years. And in this time, in these 24 years, the equations have changed. Kim was not leading North Korea back then. Plus, in the year 2000, Putin was a newbie on the world stage. Now he's a seasoned but isolated leader. These two had a meeting last year as well, Kim and Putin. Kim traveled to a Russian city, a city in the Russian Far East. And now Putin is returning the favor. As with any visit, let's look at two aspects here. The first is chemistry. Putin and Kim looked quite comfortable with each other. Both men were about to enter a car, but they couldn't decide who would go first. The pomp wasn't over yet. This is a two-day state visit by the Russian president, so the official welcome was still pending. It was organized at the Kim Il-sung Square. Again, the pictures were stunning. The roads were lined with hundreds of people. They waved Russian and North Korean flags. In typical Kim style, everything was choreographed. Later in the day, there was more bromance. Putin gifted a Russian limousine to Kim Jong-un. He also drove Kim around Pyongyang. Look at this. So we've covered the first aspect, the chemistry and optics. Now we come to the second, the substance. Putin and Kim held a long bilateral meeting. It lasted for nearly 2 hours. After that, they signed a new bilateral agreement. They upgraded their relationship to the next level, that of comprehensive strategic partnership. What does that mean? Well, it means a lot of things. Putin and Kim hinted at multiple areas of cooperation: military technology, mutual assistance in case of aggression, coordination on healthcare, and also education and science. Now, two of these stand out: sharing military technology and mutual defense. Very significant. Putin is saying that he may defend North Korea if it is attacked. And that's a big promise to make. Same with military technology. Sanctions prevent countries from selling technology to North Korea, especially strategic ones. But Vladimir Putin is saying he may do it anyway. Which brings us to the statements. What did Kim and Putin say? Kim offered full support for Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, Putin slammed U.S. efforts to isolate Kim.
The government of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea expresses full support and solidarity with the Russian government, army, and people in carrying out a special military operation in Ukraine to protect their sovereignty, security interests, as well as territorial integrity.
We highly appreciate your consistent and unwavering support for Russian policy, including the Ukrainian strand. I am referring to our fight against the hegemonic policy imposed for decades, the imperialist policy of the United States, and its satellites against the Russian Federation.
That was Putin's day in Pyongyang, eventful and colorful. But what will be the impact of this visit? How should the world see it? This visit symbolizes a revival of ties between Moscow and Pyongyang. Time for a short history lesson. In the 1950s, Kim's grandfather was ruling North Korea. His name was Kim Il-sung. He was supported by Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin. Back then, ties were great. Pyongyang was a satellite of Moscow, but Stalin died in 1950. After that, the ties changed. Kim Il-sung purged pro-Soviet forces in his regime. He began consolidating power. Thus, Moscow and Pyongyang grew apart. Cut to 2020, things are on track again. Putin and Kim have revived the 1950s romance. The question is, will it last? Well, there is nothing organic about this relationship. First, Kim Jong-un. He needs food and fuel for his people, and Russia can help him. It is the largest wheat exporter in the world, also one of the biggest sources of energy, one of the biggest energy producers. Kim also needs advanced military technology, especially on ballistic missiles. So the North Korean leader has a lot to gain. Which brings us to Putin. In fact, North Korean equipment has already been spotted in Ukraine, plus a new deterrent. Someone who can keep the U.S. busy in the Pacific.
The deepening cooperation between Russia and the DPRK is something that should be of concern, especially to anyone that's interested in maintaining peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula, but also supporting the people of Ukraine as they continue to fight against Russian aggression.
The West says, look at how isolated Putin is. So isolated that he's meeting Kim.